Hello there, and thank you for joining us. This is Energy and You, a weekly highlight of activities in Nigeria's energy sector with a focus on the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited. I'm Egusa Igumbo. On this episode, building capacity and empowering a generation of labor employers, NNPC Foundation Limited offers financial literacy program to youth corps members for economic independence, and an exclusive chat that explores the dynamics of Africa's energy production and sufficiency. Details of these and more in a moment. Stay with us. We begin with an update on international oil prices and other top stories making the round in the energy sector this week. Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Oil, Senator Heineken Lokbobere, met with the Saudi Minister of Energy Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman on the sidelines of the first ever Saudi Africa Summit. Both ministers discussed the conditions and stability of the global oil market and topics of common interest in the field of energy. The summit saw a signing of preliminary agreements between the host country and a number of African countries, including Nigeria, on energy-related cooperation. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, says his refinery has secured a license to refine more than 300,000 barrels of Nigerian crude per day and will begin to process gasoline soon. He spoke in a recent interview with Bloomberg in Riyadh during the Saudi-Nigeria Business Roundtable. Africa's largest energy company, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, is to provide Dangote Refinery with 6 million barrels of crude in the coming days. Oil prices gained nearly 2% last Friday as Iraq voiced support for oil cuts by OPEC+, but lost about 4% for the week, notching their third weekly losses for the first time since May. However, by the beginning of this week, the prices continue to fall on worries of waning demand in US and China due to dented market sentiments. Brent crude futures were down 71 cents at $80.72 a barrel. US West Texas Intermediate crude futures were at $76.49, down 68 cents. Both benchmarks were well below the 100-day moving average of $86.61 a barrel for West Texas Intermediate and $82.31 a barrel for Brent. NNPC Limited recently participated at the first Niger State Green Economy Summit held in Minna, the Niger State capital. The two-day event with the theme, Sustainable Future, Harnessing Green Assets and Innovation for Niger State's Prosperity, was aimed at creating awareness about the importance and benefits of transitioning to a green economy. NNPC Limited also signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the state government to foster collaboration in the development of renewable energy and low-carbon solution projects in the state.
An oil crisis center.
The summit brought together key stakeholders, including government officials, entrepreneurs, and civil society organizations, as well as experts who shared their insights. In his welcome speech, the Executive Governor of Niger State, Honorable Mohammed Umar Bago, emphasized the state's commitment to transitioning to a green economy and its sustainability plans.
We need to balance the ecosystem, and we are providing that CO2 exchange. We will provide the necessary exchange for all emissions from those initiatives. Niger State, we've gone ahead in the CNG initiative. We have procured 200 luxurious buses powered by CNG. There are a lot of infrastructural input to that effect. We are calling an NNPC to come and establish or collaborate with Niger State in making that a fruition.
In his presentation, The Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, who was represented by the company's Executive Vice President Gas Power and New Energy, Olalikon Ogunleye, highlighted the role of natural gas as Nigeria's transition fuel and renewable energy in transitioning to a green economy.
For us, we see clear areas that we can partner with Niger State, starting with clean energy, green energy. In NNPC, we have a subsidiary company called NNPC New Energies Business that is completely focused on green opportunities. We are looking into doing solar projects. We know that Niger State has abundant land. We know from a temperature or climate perspective that the conditions are in place. And so this is an area where we can partner together. We're also interested in hydro. We know that there are 4 hydro projects in Niger State, but that's not all. We are conducting a study into hydro opportunities, and we're starting with Niger State.
NNPC Limited's participation at the first Niger State Green Economy Summit, through its active engagements, contributions, and commitments, highlights the company's commitments towards exploring and driving investments in renewable energy projects across the country. On the backdrop of the Economic Summit, NNPC Limited and the Niger State government signed a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) on cooperation in the prevention and development of renewable energy and low-carbon solution projects.
In a bid to gain invaluable insights into the dynamic and inclusive world of African energy production and sufficiency, Energy and You had an exclusive chat with the Secretary General of the African Petroleum Producers Organization, Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim. Dr. Ibrahim is a renowned leader in the energy sector with an extensive background and expertise in the oil and gas industry. In this chat, he shared with us a deep understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing the African energy landscape, the organization's efforts to drive innovation, and its commitment to ensuring equitable and responsible utilization of Africa's petroleum resources. Take a look. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
First, how would you describe Africa's energy production landscape as it is today?
Africa is today the world's newest frontier when it comes to oil and gas discoveries. But these discoveries have been made at a time that the world is poised to move away from fossil fuels, oil and gas, to renewables. And that is where the challenge is. Because seriously, it's not finding oil, but bringing it out.
Right.
And to bring it out, you need a lot of money, you need technology, and you'll need markets for this energy that you're going to bring out. And this is where the challenge really lies for the African continent. Because in the last 75 to 100 years that we've been producing oil and gas on the African continent, we have effectively or essentially been producing not for ourselves, but for export. And as a result of that, we have relied essentially on external financing for our oil and gas projects, on external technology and expertise, and even on external markets. So these are the challenges. You are finding prospects, reserves, but you are also constrained because the markets that you have relied on in the last 100 years or so are gradually shutting down. The finances, those who have been financing have been told not to finance oil and gas, especially in Africa. And for the technology, the institutions that we were sending our staff or people to go and learn are shutting down their faculties of oil and gas. So these are the challenges that Africa faces today, and this is where Apple has come in to see what it can do to change the narrative.
But beyond the challenges of financing, like you mentioned, are there other major challenges that African petroleum producers face? And I mean, how is Apple, that's the organization now, addressing, or what strategies are they adopting to address some of these challenges?
The Apple commissioned a major study on the future of the oil and gas industry on the African continent. And resulting from that study were three findings in terms of challenges. One is the challenge of finance. The second challenge has been that of technology and expertise. Virtually all the key research institutions for oil and gas are located in the developed countries of Europe and America. The third challenge is that most of what we produce in terms of energy, whether it is oil or gas, are produced for external markets. For example, as at today, 75% of the oil that we produce in Africa is exported out of Africa. About 40-something% of the gas we produce is also exported out of Africa. Yet, our continent has the largest proportion of its people living in energy poverty.
Interesting.
Apple just didn't wake up to say, okay, these are the challenges. With the challenges also came recommendations on the way forward, practical recommendations. On the financing, we came to the conclusion that there isn't any one African country today that can say that it has all the finances it needs to be able to move the oil and gas industry forward when those on whom we have been relying on for so long decide to move on.
Right.
The same thing with technology. So what did we do? We went into partnership with Afri-Exim Bank to establish the Africa Energy Bank. This was started in May last year. By last September, we had finished the negotiations. We are going to have our ministerial meeting where the report and recommendations of this meeting, these negotiations, will be submitted to the Ministerial Council for consideration and approval. We have been dependent on Europe, America, and Asia for markets. So what we are saying is, all you need to do is to empower your people to get energy, right, and you will not need any external market. The 7 million barrels that we produce a day is not even enough for us.
Sure.
Okay? We are working on that. But to do that, you need to establish the right energy infrastructure that will allow you to be able to move energy from one source where there is a lot of energy to areas of need. As of today, we are working with the Central Africa Business Energy Forum to establish what we call the CAPS, Central Africa Pipeline System. It aims to connect 11 Central African countries by a comprehensive pipeline system for crude, for products, and for gas. When we finish with this project, you will find that honestly, even if they shut their markets, we are more than happy. The third challenge is that of technology, yes, and expertise. In fact, one of the things that brought me to Nigeria today is a African roundtable on local content. The NCDMB, the Nigerian content regulatory body, partnered with Apple member countries, experts in local content, are here today discussing the way forward in terms of how do we master the oil and gas technology. And this is also what we are doing. We've created a forum of chief executive officers of national oil companies of Apple member countries. So we are practically working on ensuring that we have full control of the industry.
Now, in terms of partnership, Apple appears to have a lot on its plate from all that you've said. Talk to us about your partnership with NNPC and perhaps other regional and international energy companies.
We have had some very good partnership with NNPC and also its various subsidiaries, including the Research, Technology and Innovation Center of the NNPC. We've had good working relationship with NCDMB. We've had working relationship with the NNPC Academy. So these are, and what we do with NNPC, we also do with of the NOCs across our member countries. Okay. After the reform to Apple, we did a major study and came to the conclusion that we can't make much progress in the oil and gas industry in Africa until we bring in the operators, so that when policies are being made by the political heads, these operators will also be able to come in and say, this is possible, this is not going to be possible to implement, etc. And as a result, we created a forum for the chief executive officers of our national oil companies, from NNPC to Sonangol to Sonatrach to Egypt, all of them. In fact, in the last 1 year, they've had 4 meetings. As to international oil companies, we don't really have that structured relationship with them, unlike what we have with the national oil companies and the private companies in our member countries. So, but we do believe that as we move on, those of them that are keen on ensuring that they leave behind an excellent legacy for us in the industry will partner with them to get what we can get.
Okay, but are there any ongoing or recent projects that Apple is undertaking with significant impact on the region?
Well, the first, what we are really focusing on today is to see that the Africa Energy Bank comes on stream. In terms of infrastructure, it is the Central Africa Business Pipeline System. Then, in West Africa, you have the Trans-Sahara and the West Africa Gas Pipeline. These are things that our member country governments are working on, and we give all the support that we need to be able to make sure that it's realized.
Well, as a Nigerian who is heading this regional body, I reckon that this in itself is of immense benefit to Nigeria. But how does it really translate, to development in Nigeria's energy sector?
The point is, as we speak today, there isn't one single African country that, left on its own, can seriously address the challenges of the energy transition. Right. So, coming together, Nigeria, Angola, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Equatorial, all these countries, we realized one of the first things I think we did when I assumed office was to send our secretariat staff to all our member countries to assess what they have in terms of training, in terms of technology, in terms of research. And we realized that a number of countries have a lot of excellent, beautiful facilities. Others are just crawling into the system. And we believe that it doesn't make sense for you to duplicate efforts across 54 African countries.
Sure.
So that's exactly where Nigeria will be. Nigeria has gone very far relative to most African countries in the oil and gas industry. Nigeria can assist to raise those who are still down there up. In so doing, they also get better.
Just before I let you go, what do you envision really for the African petroleum industry in the nearest future?
The way we are going, we have no choice but to invest in the oil and gas industry, because this is what we have on the ground. And if we don't, we are going to be the biggest losers, for the simple reason that if we wake up and the expected renewable energies do not materialize,
right,
we are going to be the biggest victims, for the simple reason that the little energy that is going to be available will be priced out of what anybody on the African continent can buy. So we should not allow ourselves to be deceived into believing that this form of energy should be abandoned in a hurry.
Well, I guess Africa will have to continue to speak with one voice to be able to realize its objectives. But this is where we have to draw the anchor. Thank you so very much, Doctor, for joining me on the program.
Yeah.
To enhance capacity building and empower young individuals to become employers of labor, the NNPC Foundation Limited recently collaborated with Kudimata Nigeria Limited to provide financial literacy training for Batch C Corps members at the NYSC camp in Abuja. The training was part of the Corps members' 21-day orientation program. Energy and Youth cover the event.
The Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Scheme is an initiative spearheaded by the NYSC leadership with the objective of promoting entrepreneurship and vocational skill acquisition among NYSC members across Nigeria. The program offers training in various skills like fashion designing, catering, cosmetology, bead making, photography, and more tailored to individual interests. While addressing the trainees, Mrs. Emanuela Arukwe, the Managing Director of NNPC Foundation, emphasized the importance of financial literacy as fundamental in today's highly competitive labor market. She encouraged the Corps members to apply the knowledge gained from the training.
We are very passionate in the foundation to make sure that our teeming youths are gainfully employed and they can contribute their quota to make sure Nigeria makes progress and economically. We all know that the days of getting white-collar jobs are very few. And so the most important thing is to make sure that you're properly equipped.
Mrs. Shokbeka Winifred, the Federal Capital Territory Coordinator of NYSC, expressed deep appreciation to NNPC Foundation and Kudimata Nigeria for their unwavering support in empowering the Corps members to be self-reliant and wealth creators. She described the training as a platform for the Corps members to learn effective financial management and to become proficient in handling their resources.
Monitoring and evaluation will be carried out by the NNPC Foundation and Kudimata. The NYSC site program will continue to solicit support of more stakeholders for the development of culture of self-reliance in our youth for sustainable wealth creation.
Discussions during the program revolved around budgeting, savings, investment, and borrowing. Corps members who participated in the event shared their thoughts, excitement, and the world of opportunities the program has introduced to them.
We learned the importance to save and how to categorize our finances in order to help us grow, which was very wonderful.
I am thrilled that NNPC took their time to do this for us because educating us on financial literacy is really, really important, and I am happy that I got to understand how to multiply my money, not just earning, which is very important, multiplying the money so that in the future I don't get to suffer.
NNPC Foundation is dedicated to empowering the Nigerian Youth Corps to become employers of labor. This initiative aligns with NNPC's commitment to the creation of value in both core and non-core energy business development.
Now let's take a look at the week's progress reports in the fight against crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism by NNPC Limited.
Across the Niger Delta, the war on crude oil theft is on, and the industry-wide security collaboration continues to record remarkable progress. Between the 4th to 10th of November 2023, 131 incidences were recorded across the Niger Delta, in Umuboma in Delta State, Olodiama in Bayelsa, and Bodo in River State. A total of 24 illegal connections were uncovered and disconnected. Here, a major repair is ongoing on the Central Corridor. In the past week, 43 illegal refineries were discovered across Delta, Rivers, Imo, and Bayelsa states. Rain is no hindrance here at Ikenyabiri in Bayelsa State as the onslaught on illegal refineries continue. An aerial shot reveals a number of illegal refineries operating under the cover of trees. This massive refinery was uncovered in Imo State. In Owaza, Abia State, an illegal refinery was dismantled. 17 cases of pipeline vandalism was recorded, while several illegal storage sites were discovered in River State, in Elele, Tumkiri, and Emoha. In Owaza in Abia State, sacks of crude oil were uncovered as well. 10 vehicle arrests were made in several locations in Delta and River State. No part of the vehicle is spared. On water, 5 boats conveying stolen crude were apprehended in Delta and River State between the 4th to 10th of November 2023. 21 suspects were also arrested across the Niger Delta in the past week. 10 of these incidents took place in the deep blue water, 33 in the western region, 43 in the central region, and 45 in the eastern part of the Niger Delta. For NNPC Limited, there is no backing down on the war on crude oil theft until the menace is eradicated for good.
And that's it on the show today. Hope you enjoyed watching as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. If you missed any part of it or previous episodes, you can catch up by scanning the QR code on your screen now. You can also follow us on all our social media handles showing on your screen to get updates of events in Nigeria's energy sector and other activities of NNPC Limited. Thanks for watching. I'm Egusa Igumbo. See you again.